Hello, I'm Corey Funk, and this is Funk's Film Reviews. And now I'm doing my quick review of my favorite film of 1998. This movie is called American History X. It stars Edward Norton, Edward Furlong, who is famous for playing John Connor in Terminator 2. It stars Beverly D'Angelo, plays their mother. Avery Brooks plays a professor. Stacy Keach plays the leader of a white supremacist group, and all that. And it's a story basically about two brothers. One brother, Derek Vineyard, who is Edward Norton, he ends up joining this, starting this, helping with this white supremacist skinhead group and all that. And he gets involved in that type of lifestyle. But when he gets, but all of a sudden, like one night, he ends up hearing his he goes downstairs and his car's being jacked by two black guys, and he ends up killing them, and he goes to jail for that, obviously, and finds out his brother, his younger brother, when he gets out of jail, he ends up finding out his brother is following in the same footsteps. And when Edward Norton's character gets out of jail, he is a changed man. And they show the present day, they film it in color, but in the past and all that, they film it in black and white, and it goes back and forth. And Edward Furlong, which is his character, is Danny Vineyard, and he's a troubled kid in school and ends up getting in trouble. And this Avery Brooks, who is shouldn't say professor, he was the principal of the school, and he wants Danny Vineyard to write about his brother Derek, which is Edward Norton. And so when he gets home and all that, Edward Norton's character gets out of prison and completely changed, doesn't want anything to do with that lifestyle, wants to get his family away from that lifestyle. And when you see in prison that he ends up getting in trouble with other skinhead inmates, he ends up folding laundry. He gets assigned to fold laundry with this black guy, played by Guy Torry, and he ends up talking to him, befriending him, and he ends up being a totally changed man because of him. And then he ends up talking to Principal Sweeney as well and all that, which when they look at the past, you see where his hatred ends up happening, and they talk about Derek and Danny's father. They have a conversation at the table, and he said, "Don't buy into this." And then you find out that you're like, "Holy cow!" So that's where all this hatred stems from. And Edward Norton's character in this movie, I remember watching the movie. Me and my brother actually went to this movie on a Midnight Madness, and we used to have a theater in our hometown called the Jan Cinema, which was across from the Co-op. And we saw this movie in Midnight Madness, and we fell in love with this movie. Very, very dark movie and all that, but it ends up the ending of this movie actually brings me to tears almost every time I watch this movie, because he ends up after Derek talks to Danny about what he went through in prison. Danny is now a changed man, but unfortunately he was caused and I'm just going to say, if you haven't seen the movie, there's sad thing happens, one of the characters ends up dead in the movie. But this movie is a great interpretation and talks about racism in such a way that it shows, it doesn't just show racism on the whites and the blacks, it shows actually on both ends, and that there's actually good people on both ends, because with Danny, there's this one kid that just didn't like white kids as well, and they show that. And same thing with but it showed that this person in particular is a bad person, but this person here is not necessarily a bad person. And it talks about, it doesn't post as a one-side thing. It shows prejudice on both, but it also shows growth on both. And that's why I think American History X is such an amazing film and all that. It doesn't seem like a typical, it talks about it in a way that, and I think it's possibly the best film that tackles the subject of racism. my opinion. And another one that does very good on that has a little more family friendliness to it is Remember the Titans. It actually shows on both ends how they just don't understand each other. And that's another great movie too, but that's not this list. But Edward Norton in this film, everybody I remember was talking about before Leo won his Oscar, and everybody talked about, see, Edward Norton actually, I do think, should have won for American History X. Leo was a good actor. However, he happened to go up against people who I thought did better performances. Like, prime example, when Leo lost out to The Aviator to Jamie Foxx, I think Jamie Foxx was the better performance. When Leo lost out to Tommy Lee Jones. However, Tommy Lee Jones, I don't think should have won that year. I actually think another performance for Schindler's List should have won that year for Ralph Fiennes in the supporting actor category. But like he just happened to be nominated the wrong years. He finally won it for The Revenant. But the one year I do think Leo should have won was Wolf of Wall Street. But that's way later I'm going to talk about. But yeah, American History X is a brilliant movie. It is it shows the dark side and the consequences and all that of racism. It's a double gold movie. It's directed by Tony Kaye. I forgot to mention the director's name. The director was named Tony Kaye. And double gold movie, and is my favorite film of 1998. And my name is Corey Funk, and this has been Funk's Film Reviews.